Good morning. So I was just saying that Max, when I set all of this up, he was looking at me this morning with a face like this, going, "Are we doing this again today?" And he had that kind of face, which some of us have sometimes, like, "Mm." So I thought, in fact, I'd already thought that maybe I'll speak about anger. So that was a nice little leeway into that this morning. Yeah, now you're not looking angry. No, now you're looking at me with love. That's a good thing to do. So how do we get from anger to love? So in my experience, trying to meditate, trying to be mindful, um, I've experienced two kinds of anger. I would call them perhaps quick anger and slow anger. And quick anger, I think most of us are susceptible to. So how does mindfulness and breathing and listening and feeling, how do all these things help us with anger? So with the quick anger, what I've noticed is the more mindful we are, it gives us a moment before we react. Everything kind of slows down. So before, when something was happening, and I mean, you may have noticed we get more angry with our loved ones than we do with strangers. There's always some love there. And it's always a good thing to remember that somebody's angry with me or I'm angry with them because there's love, there's a bond there. That's a great thing to remember. So why is it that even though we love somebody, we care about somebody, something happens, the thoughts spin out of control, and all of a sudden we've said something that we regret, that is hurtful, that may be painful to them, and then painful to us later when we reflect on it. So there are many reasons at different levels of anger, but at the very, very surface level of thoughts, emotions, and behavior, it's just that we are not in control of our thoughts. And that's why these little exercises that we think might be a bit meaningless or not needed, or why am I doing these things? You know, why am I listening out for sounds of cars in the distance or my feet moving? These are the anchor points, I suppose, which will distract the mind in the beginning and then eventually teach the mind to be quiet. So when you're in a situation where there's some kind of conflict, where you are feeling something inside, it's because these thoughts are going around and around in your head about judgment. Why is this happening? Why are they saying this to me? I feel hurt. I feel pain. I need to get my point across. This is all chatter of the mind. And the more we meditate and do mindfulness activities, those thoughts become less powerful. There are less of them. They become quieter and eventually they stop at some point. So it's completely possible to be sitting or standing in front of someone who is screaming at you, maybe saying awful things to you, maybe a work colleague who's being difficult, anything like that, and not have a reaction. It is very, very, very difficult. It's taken me years, and not only, I think the last time I had a really big reaction to something was about 2 years ago, and it was huge, really, really huge. And I've been on this path for 12 years, so you can imagine 10 years on, and something really, really managed to derail me. So just remember when these things happen, we're human, and it's okay. Take a breath, come back. And sometimes you may have said something that is so damaging that the relationship is damaged forever. Hopefully, the other person will be practicing forgiveness and things will be okay, but sometimes they're not. And then there's nothing more that can be done. So the first one is this quick anger, fast anger. And the second one is slow anger. This one I'm not so familiar with myself, but I know it happens. I speak to people, especially on email, regularly who write to me saying, I feel this, I feel that, or somebody did this or did this to me. And the slow anger is not a reactive anger, but it's something that can build and bubble over minutes, hours, days, weeks, months, years. And it tends to be the kind of anger where people can be quite cruel. Maybe that's not the nicest word to use, but that's what can happen. And there's a feeling of, how dare they do that to me or say that to me? I'm going to show them who I am. And then people want to hurt others. They want to hurt them back. It's not reactive. It's not like, oh my God, I said something in the heat of the moment and I regret it. It becomes more of the pain that settles in the heart, and the anger that bubbles up, and the frustration. And then sometimes over a period, that's Max being my protector, someone's at the door. Then sometimes people can end up being quite harmful with words, actions. And this takes a long time to work through. Usually it's because they have insecurities or trauma themselves, or we may have. And so if you find yourself in this kind of anger or emotions, I want you to also be gentle with yourself, but also analyze, why am I feeling these things? Why am I behaving like this? Why am I being maybe calculative, or trying to hurt somebody in a way that's not blatant, I suppose. Especially, I think with maturity, hopefully we grow out of this kind of anger, but sometimes we don't. So some of the younger ones who I know are watching, who do struggle with these kinds of things, it will get better. But we need to work really hard on ourselves for this kind of slow anger. Keep up with mindfulness and meditative practices. And also this leads me on to something else, another core value with meditation and mindfulness that really helps us. And this is humility. And humility doesn't always mean that I have to be humble and bow down and like in a temple or somewhere. That's not really what humility is in my experience and opinion now. Yes, it's good to be polite and humble in that way. But I found that humility as an antidote to anger is putting my ego aside, putting my opinion aside, being able to see the other person's perspective. Why are they feeling like this? Why are they saying these things? Can I put myself in their shoes? Again, like empathy. And the difference is, thank you, Max, come here. And the difference is, putting my ego aside may mean that for the sake of peace, I can say it's okay, I don't have to be right. So can we choose peace over being right in some situations? Again, it's not easy, but it's one of the biggest antidotes to anger, and using humility in that way. So I hope you've been able to practice and keep dropping the thoughts and practice some meditation. I hope you've been able to continue with your homework and mindfulness practices. And we're still working with the sound, especially the sound in the ears. If you can really hone in on that and see if you can pick up. See, as soon as I do that, then I'm like, okay, there it is. This the sound of life. And keep asking yourself, what am I thinking? What am I thinking? And see if you can drop the thoughts. And if you have any situations where you're feeling angry at any point, remember, especially if it's with loved ones and kids and in a moment of frustration and anger, it's okay. Take it easy. We're only human. It will get better. And if you're struggling with a slow anger, then there's a lot of work that needs to be done. And admitting it in the first place is a great, great thing to do. And just think about putting yourself in the other person's shoes. Do we have to be right? Maybe we can choose peace. And there's a lot of work to be done, a lot of layers in that case, but we can work on that slowly together with the practical side, and maybe therapy, counseling, different kinds of therapies are also a good idea to look into if you're feeling that kind of slow anger. So we'll finish today with a short meditation. And just come back to feeling centered before we go off on our day today. So I'd like you to sit with your back straight. And feel where the breath is moving in the body. Then feel the breath in the nose. Be aware that the air coming out is warmer than the air going in. Be aware of which nostril is working more actively at the moment. Allow the face to relax into a gentle smile and the tongue resting at the roof of the mouth. Take a deep breath. Let the shoulders drop. And feel your palms of your hands and your soles of your feet relax. Maybe even feel your fingers uncurl ever so slightly. Just feel those palms really relax. Being aware of every single breath. Maintaining absolute stillness, even stillness of the eyeballs. Whatever you're thinking about, in this moment it's not important, just come back to being aware of the breath. And remember to take this feeling with you throughout your day. You can open your eyes if you'd like to, but maintain that awareness. And if any situation comes up where there is conflict, where anger may arise, maybe you could tell yourself, I'd rather be at peace than be right. And sometimes that's all that's needed. To become a little humble and to put the ego aside. And sometimes in that one moment, it can change everything. And it's beautiful. So take this feeling with you throughout the day. Keep being aware of your movement, dropping the thoughts. I hope you've got hundreds of post-it notes around your house. Brushing the teeth, being aware of every brush stroke, asking yourself what you're thinking, being aware of how many, it doesn't have to be how many times, but being aware of sitting down, standing up, being aware of sounds. Remember, you can use music to help you. Sit and listen to a piece of music, see if you can be aware of every beat. Keep trying any of these techniques, all of these techniques, one of these techniques today. Whatever you can do, everything adds up, little, little, little. And I love you all. I'm really grateful that you give this time to working on yourselves, because I know the ripple effect is huge. And the more of us who do this for ourselves, the more people we can also inspire and have a beautiful effect on their lives as well. So thank you. And I will see you all here again tomorrow. Take care. Bye, everyone. Bye bye.